Hello everyone, this is Nina. Today I'm so excited to share with you my newest sewing pattern along with a full step-by-step video tutorial. This is the Mila Book Tote. It is a lightweight, fully lined bag that comes with an optional pocket, plus a cute back flap trimmed with ruffles and a ribbon closure. This tote bag is a beginner-friendly and versatile pattern that allows for lots of different customizations. What I really love about this bag, aside from how adorable it looks, is how spacious and functional it is. It is big enough to fit an A5-sized book or journal without looking bulky, which makes it perfect if you love reading or journaling, so you can bring them with you in your Mila bag. I've been using my Mila Tote every day since I made it because I love carrying my Kindle and journal with me. The size is just right, and the pockets are great for my phone, stationery, and other daily essentials. It's really become my go-to everyday bag. The pattern comes with multiple design options, including different strap lengths and styles, pockets, a back flap, and more. This means you can make the bag exactly the way you want. With this pattern, you can make a top handle book tote, a crossbody bag with handles, or a simple little crossbody bag. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make view A of the Mila Book Tote. And I'll cover all the techniques and tips you'll need to create the other versions as well. To get started, you'll first need to print and assemble the pattern. Make sure you print at 100% scale and use the test square to check that your pages are the correct size. I trimmed off the edges of each page and joined them together with double-sided tape. I used the small triangles as reference points to align the pages correctly. Once everything is taped together, I also like to add a layer of clear tape over the joints to keep everything secure. Next, I cut out all the pattern pieces I need for view A. Now that my pattern pieces are ready, I'm going to use them to cut out all the fabric. For this bag, I'm using a cotton fabric with pink stripes as the main fabric, and this adorable strawberry print cotton for the lining. This bag looks especially cute with a quilted exterior, and to achieve that look, I'm using medium weight polyester batting. In the instruction booklet, I've also included a section explaining the purpose of batting and how different weights and materials can affect the overall look and feel of the bag. When cutting fabric, I like to trace the pattern pieces onto the fabric first, then cut them out. This makes the process more accurate and helps me avoid accidentally cutting into the original pattern. Here, I'm tracing all of the pieces that need to be quilted so I can cut them out from one large piece of fabric at the same time. That way, I can quilt all the pieces together at once instead of quilting them individually, and it is much quicker and easier this way. The crossbody bag strap is quite long, so you'll need to fold your fabric in order to cut the full length. If you don't have enough fabric, that's okay. You can simply cut two shorter pieces using the strap pattern and then sew them together to create one long strap. Now that I have all the pieces ready, I'm going to start quilting the main bag pieces and the back flap. Personally, I find the easiest method is to use a heat erasable pen to draw the quilting lines before sewing. I start by finding the 45-degree angle on my ruler, then mark out the lines to create even squares. I highly recommend this method for beginners because it helps you sew straight lines more easily and gives the bag a neat professional finish. To remove the markings, simply press over them with an iron. For this bag, I quilted 4 cm by 4 cm squares, but you can definitely adjust the size or experiment with other quilting patterns depending on your preference. A small tip to make quilting easier is to start by quilting the diagonals first. This helps to secure the fabric to the batting before stitching the rest of the lines. Also, try to quilt in the same direction throughout. This prevents the fabric from shifting or becoming distorted in the process. Here's how it looks after all of the pieces are quilted. A very useful tip to make assembling the bag much easier later on is to stay stitch around the edges before cutting each piece out. Using a seam allowance just slightly smaller than 1/4 inch, I stitched around all of the edges within the pattern borders. This keeps the quilting lines from unraveling and stops the fabric layers from shifting, which really helps everything to stay neat and makes the assembly process much smoother. You can see here that the stay stitching lines sit just inside the edges of each quilted piece, so they won't be visible once the bag is finished. With the stay stitching done, I went ahead and cut out all the quilted pieces and set them aside. Next, let's move on to the straps. If you don't have enough fabric to cut a full-length crossbody bag strap, you can cut 2 shorter pieces instead. Simply place them right-sides together, sew along one end and press the seam open. This will give you one long bag strap. For the ribbon closure straps, I folded the fabric in half, right sides together, and sewed along the top and side edges. Now I trimmed the corners a little bit, making sure not to cut into any of the stitching, and turned the straps right side out using a pen. I then ironed the straps flat and set them aside for later. To make the crossbody back strap and the handle straps, I'm going to fold then sew them using a method that's easier and faster while also making the straps thicker and more durable. The best part is, you won't need to turn the straps right side out, which can be really tricky, especially with long straps like the crossbody one. I started by folding the strap in half, wrong sides together, and pressing it flat with the iron. Then I opened it back up and using the crease in the center as a guide, I folded the long raw edges inward so they meet in the middle and pressed again. Finally, I folded the strap in half once more along that center crease, enclosing the raw edges inside and gave it a final press. Once that's done, I top stitched along both long edges of the strap to close the folded edge and give the strap a neat finish. The VOA design of the Mila bag that I'm making here doesn't include any handle straps, but they are made using the exact same method as the crossbody bag strap. So if you're making one of the other designs, just repeat the same process to create the handles. Next, I'm going to make the bag flap, starting with the ruffles. Place the ruffle piece wrong side facing up, fold it in half with the wrong sides together and press it flat. To create the ruffles, we'll first need to sew 2 rows of basting stitches using the longest stitch lengths on the machine. It's important to use the longest stitch length and to not backstitch so the threads are easy to pull later when we gather the fabric. So I set my machine to the longest stitch length and sewed 2 rows of basting stitches. The first row about a 1/4 inch away from the raw edges, and the second row another 1/4 inch away from the first row. After sewing the basting stitches, I separated the top and bottom threads. I held onto the top threads and gently pulled to gather the ruffles. As I did this, I kept checking the length of the ruffles against the curved edge of the back flap to see if it fit. You can see here that I gathered a little bit too much at first, so the ruffles didn't quite match. To fix that, I just eased them out a little bit until the length matched the flap perfectly. Once the gathers looked right, I placed the ruffles and the outer flap piece right sides together. I clipped them in place, making sure the raw edges lined up and both ends matched. Clipping really helps here because the ruffles can shift around a little bit as you sew, so to keep them in place, I like to use plenty of clips, especially along the curves. That way, I don't have to worry about the fabric moving while I'm sewing, and it makes the whole process much easier. Using this method also gives me neat, even ruffles every single time. Once everything was clipped in place, I stitched along the curved edge to attach the ruffles to the back flap. Before attaching the lining to the back flap, we first need to sew on one of the ribbon closure straps. To do this, I aligned the raw edge of the strap with the center of the flap's curved edge, placing it on top of the ruffles. I clipped it in place and stitched over the strap a few times with back stitches to make sure it was secure. Once that was done, I placed the flap lining on top, right sides together, making sure the strap and the ruffles were tucked neatly inside the layers. I clipped everything in place and stitched around the curved edge. This is how the flap looks once it's assembled. Before turning it right side out, I'm going to clip the curves so it will lay nice and flat. Clipping is a simple technique that helps curved seams sit smoothly when turned. To do this, I made small cuts into the seam allowance about every centimeter along the curve. I cut through all the fabric layers, but be careful not to snip into any of the stitching. After that's done, I flip the bag flap right side out and look how pretty it looks already. I love how the ruffles add such a lovely touch to this bag. Next, I'm going to iron the flap and add a top stitch around the curved edge. This helps the layers sit nicely together and gives the flap an extra neat, clean finish. Small details like this are what makes your sewing look professional. And now for the best part, it's time to assemble the bag. I'm going to start by attaching the other ribbon closure strap onto the front of the bag. I took one of the outer main back pieces, which will be the front of my bag. I placed the strap with the raw edges at the end at the center of the back piece and stitched it in place, about a 1/4 inch away from the strap's raw edge. Next, I flipped the strap upward and stitched it again with back stitches to secure, enclosing the raw edge on the inside. After that's done, I'm going to attach the side panel to the bag. This might be the most technical part of this tutorial, but don't worry, I'll show you my technique that makes the process much easier and helps your finished bag look amazing. To attach the side panel, I'm starting at the top right corner of the bag. I placed the side panel onto the front main back piece with right sides together, matching up the ends and raw edges. You can use a few pins or clips to hold the layers in place if you're worried about shifting. I backstitched at the start of the seam and stitched along the edge. Now, when I approach the end of the seam at the corner, if I just turn the side panel and align it with the bottom edge of the bag, it can be tricky to get the raw edges to match and sew through the bulk. So instead, I'm going to make a small clip in the side panel about a 1/4 inch before the corner to give the fabric some room to turn. To do this, I lifted up the side panel to see where the corner of the main back piece was. And on the side panel, I marked about a 1/4 inch before that point and made a small cut into the side panel with my scissors. Then I continued sewing until I reached that cut. Once I got there, I lifted the presser foot while keeping the needle in place. This is very important so the layers don't shift. I turned the side panel 90 degrees at the cut, realigned the raw edges, and continued stitching along the bottom edge until I reached the next corner. Because we're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, it's important not to clip any deeper than a 1/4 inch, or else you'll create openings in the bag. If the clip is just right, the corners will turn out very neat and beautiful. And here's another demonstration showing where to make the cut and how to turn the side panel at the corners. This is how it looks on the wrong side of the side panel. You can see that my clippings are the same size as my seam allowance. And here on the right side of the bag, you can see there's no fabric bulk or misalignment around the corners. They look very neat and clean. I found this method to be the easiest way to sew these corners and delivers the best results. I get neat, perfectly sewn corners every time. To attach the other side of the bag, the steps are exactly the same. Just align the other edge of the side panel to the second outer bag piece, right sides together, and sew along as before. After that's done, we'll need to flip the outer bag right side out and set it aside for later. Next, I'm going to show you how to make the pocket and attach it to the lining. To make the pocket, place the 2 pocket pieces right sides together and sew around all the edges, leaving a small opening on one side for turning it right side out later. I trimmed the corners slightly so they'll look neater once turned. After turning the pocket right side out, I closed the opening by stitching close to the edge, then top stitched along the top edge for a clean finish. Now that the pocket piece is ready, I sewed it directly onto one of the back lining pieces. I positioned the pocket at the center of the lining, then stitched along the sides and the bottom edge, reinforcing with back stitches at the start and end. This is how the pocket looks after being sewn on. You can also add a pocket to the back of the outer bag if you prefer, and you could even quilt the pocket piece so it blends nicely with the exterior. Next, I'm going to attach the side panel to the lining pieces, following the same process as before. The only difference here is to remember to leave an opening on one side of the lining to flip the bag right side out later. Since this bag has quite a few layers, I'm leaving a slightly larger opening, about 10 centimeters, to make flipping easier. Now that the lining pieces are assembled, I'm going to leave it as is and set it aside for now. I brought back my already assembled outer bag, and now I'm going to attach the crossbody back strap and the bag flap. Starting with the crossbody back strap, I placed each end of the strap onto the side panels, making sure they were centered and clip them in place. I also placed the straps slightly over the raw edges. It's important to leave a few extra centimeters so it adds durability. After checking that the strap wasn't twisted, I stitched it in place with back stitches to secure. This is how the bag looks with the crossbody bag strap attached. Next, I turned the bag to its backside, the side without the ribbon closure strap, and placed the back flap right sides together with the back panel. I aligned the raw edges, and once everything was lined up, I clipped the flap in place. Once everything's clipped, I stitched along the edge with back stitches to secure the flap in place. If you've been following the same 1/4 inch seam allowance throughout, the width of the back flap, including the ruffles, should match the width of the back panel. If it doesn't line up perfectly, don't worry, just make sure that the flap is centered. If it's only off by a few centimeters, it won't affect the overall look of your finished bag. This is how the bag looks with everything attached. It's already looking very cute and just one step away from being finished. For the final step, we're going to attach the lining by placing the main bag inside the lining with right sides together. At this stage, the outer bag should be turned right side out, while the lining should remain unturned. The fronts and backs of both layers should also be facing each other. Before taking this to the machine, I made sure everything was tucked neatly inside the lining and carefully checked that all the side seams and raw edges were aligned. Next, I clipped around the top edge to keep everything in place and prevent shifting while sewing. Then I stitched along the top edge with back stitches to secure it. Finally, I used the opening I left in the lining to turn the bag right side out. Before closing the opening, I like to check that everything is in the right place so I can fix any mistakes if needed. Once I'm happy with everything, I pinched the opening together and stitched close to the edge to close it up. Then I pushed the lining back into the bag. For the finishing touch, I top stitched around the top edge to keep all the layers neatly in place and give the bag a clean, professional finish. And here it is. The Mila bag is all finished. I'm really happy with how mine turned out. I love the quilted look, and the back flap with the ruffles is just the cutest. This was such a fun project to make. The bag is lightweight yet super spacious. It fits my journal, Kindle, phone, and so much more. I've been using it every day and taking it everywhere with me. It also makes the perfect gift for friends and family, especially if they love reading and journaling. Whether you're a beginner or just looking for a fun sewing project that's both cute and functional, the Mila bag is a great choice, and you can finish it in just a couple of hours. I just love how versatile the pattern is. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please like, comment, and subscribe. I can't wait to see your versions of the Mila bag. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.